What is up, y'all? Snipes and Snarf Blast, your unauthorized place for Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Fox. And for today, I'm guessing also Sony, because we're going to be talking Spider-Man Far From Home. We just got out the theater. Y'all are going to get this a day later than usual, though, due to some complications that have arisen. So this is actually 4th of July. So to my fellow Americans, happy Independence Day. Now, let's get back to talking Spider-Man Far From Home. As usual, I am your host, Jason, and like I said, we just made it out the theater, so this is going to be my non-spoiler first thoughts. If I pause a couple times here and there, it's because I'm trying to keep this thing non-spoilery, and they've kind of rigged it to where there's certain trigger words that might actually be able to give it away to people that know the material well. So you probably already got out there and seen it. If not, you're just trying to make up your mind. And if you're just trying to make up your mind, I will tell you off top, go see this movie. If you love Marvel, if you love Spider-Man, I loved this movie. I don't know if I've loved it as much as Homecoming, but it is a very, very close sequel. Like, very close sequel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was great. I enjoyed this so much, and it does so many different things just perfectly. Like, it pulls off things that you're not even used to seeing in movies. I know one major thing it pulls off out of these, like I said, two major things. The first major thing it pulls off is going to be the fact that comic book people will understand this more than anything, and we'll probably get more into it as I get more into talking about it, but it was a perfect epilogue. Every now and then a major comic event happens and something gets picked to be the epilogue issue, where not only do you get an issue of insert whatever hero here, you also get in that issue little tidbits here and there that really closes off a whole giant storyline as an epilogue. That's one of the major things that it did, just on epic proportions, because epilogues are always fun because they also pepper in little bitty things of where we can go and build from there. And I thought it did that great. Second thing it did great, and better than most comic book movies do, it is a just honest to God great sequel to Homecoming and what they'd already set up there. I loved Homecoming. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I love Hot Aunt May. But this movie does what all sequels should do, and it builds on those characters so well. Like, we're getting to watch this young Peter Parker we were given just develop into an even more quirky, even more just clumsy, great-hearted Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and we're getting to see him grow into that role, and just that right there is awesome. The relationship between him and Zendaya is now MJ after the big reveal from Homecoming. So MJ, their relationship, it's also quirky and awkward, and you get to see it grow, and you get to see him and his friendship grow, and just the growth in this movie is, I think, what makes it such a great sequel to the original one. And like I said, those are the two major things this movie does perfectly, like on a whole nother level. It manages to be an epilogue and a great sequel, both at the same time. I mean, that's things that's even hard to pull off in the pages of a comic book. So kudos to them for really getting this. And I've loved growing with these characters into this new one. Like I said, I really enjoyed this. A couple more things that really stood out that I liked. I know the first one was supposed to have like this John Hughes film, like 80s film type, like family film school romp thing to it, you know what I'm saying? And I thought it was funny because this one felt like the 80s sequel you would get to that, where they'd be like, well, how do we follow it up? Oh, we go to Europe. And I mean, that's just, I thought that was funny going in. That was just awesome to me, because I mean, really, it's got that same exact John Hughes feel, just based in even what they did here. And how they pulled off some of the things they pulled off is amazing. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, playing from another world and helping Peter out. That was just that the storyline depicted there was so on point, and they also, the way they addressed one of my main things going in when it came to Mysterio, because Mysterio's always been one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, but I've never thought of him as a credible threat because Mysterio uses special effects. As much as I love special effects, I think it's cool to really mess with someone's mind special effects wise. I also knew that Spider-Man being Spider-Man and anyone else being anyone else, getting through that would be really easy due to the fact that it is just, it's special effects. It's fake, you know what I'm saying? So they found a real way to make Mysterio a relevant character in this movie by giving him the ability to actually inflict these things that he's helping Peter with, dealing with the elementals and stuff. And they give him the ability and they explain how it works eventually. And I think that's really cool when they get into it because it makes a really believable aspect of his still special effects grounded type powers that he uses to help Spidey out in this, and I thought that was great. The villain in this movie was amazing. Probably one of my favorite parts of this movie is the way the villain gets like rolled out. I think it was just so cool, the big villain in this movie. And like I said, I don't want to get too spoilery, so I don't want to stay into too many of the characters or get into the actual villain because they've managed to kind of keep that under. They didn't really talk too much about the elementals in the trailers, so I'm not going to get into it that much either, other than to say it was a great villain. I really saw, it's funny how many things you see coming and how many things I've even addressed that I saw coming and how many things you don't really see coming in this. It does end on another WTF moment like the last one, where the last one, Aunt May walked in and she's like, what the... This one ends on the same exact notion. Different people involved, but same exact notion. I thought that was great, and I feel like we're gonna, when we have a third one, it's probably gonna do the same exact ending, just another different type scenario. So that's really cool. But like I said, with the growth and everything, I can't wait to see where we go with Spider-Man, and with the after credit scenes, along with peppering in, like I said, the epilogue-ness to the Infinity Saga as a whole and the 10 years as a whole. So, I mean, they dug back for some things to really tie all of this into even the first Iron Man. And then they also went into and gave you some of the dealing with the 5 years and dealing with everything that just happened and just everybody getting back to regular life. And like I said, with the end credit scenes and a couple more things, they also pepper in what you're going to see next, where we're going, where we're taking that next step into the future of the MCU. So this really does, as much as Endgame sounds final, it was final, but this is more so the epilogue, the cherry on top of the sundae, if you will, to get through to just an ending as a whole and still give you just a really satisfying Spider-Man sequel that, if it didn't have the epilogue, could have wound up as kind of a throwaway in the process. So I think this was the perfect placing for this movie and the perfect thing to do with it. And now, after taking this more relaxing and just chill fun, it was, like I said, it wasn't as funny as Homecoming. It was still a very funny movie, and it was very fun to watch. I had a lot of fun watching it, and it feels like that big exhale after Endgame, that big, oh man, that's done. I can't believe that was awesome. So it gets that out there, and that feels really good. And like I said, I love this movie. I can't wait to see it more, because like I said, it's so close to Homecoming that I feel like as I watch it more, it might even switch places eventually, because like I said, it's a really great film. You'll enjoy it if you've followed the MCU. Hell, if you just want to see a good movie, if you love Spider-Man, go see this film. This is probably the best Spider-Man we've ever been getting, and I can't, like I said, this leaves you wanting more, and that's the best thing this could have done, because it's the close of one volume and the opening of the next, you know what I'm saying, like the first couple pages of the next, and that's what we really needed after Endgame, because I don't think we got that due to like no post-credits, no this, no that. Like I said, really fun film. I had a blast. I would recommend this to anybody. check later in the weekend. I will, after my thoughts set in, I'll break it down a little more and I'll get into it. Still non-spoilery, but I'll write out a more thorough. My feelings probably won't change. Like I said, I love this film and I'm probably just going to love it more as the years go on. But I will write out a couple more details. I'll break everybody down and kind of show where I'm at on every single aspect of this thing and really just get a good wrap around it. So check that out. The easiest way to check that out is go down there in the description, subscribe and hit the bell, but more so go down there on social, grab us on Facebook, grab us on Twitter, grab us on Pinterest, grab us on Instagram. All four is the easiest way to always keep up, but it will notify you when that written, more thorough review goes up. Not to mention it will notify you of more things. This is going to be a replacement for the show this week. The show will probably be back next week. Got a bunch of birthdays this month, so like I said, try to take a little time off. But there's some really cool things to talk about that I do want to address, so I will come back next week, even if just for a little bit. But like I said, follow us on those things. We might go open for the 4th of July fireworks tonight for Disney, so I might actually go live for those. So if you follow us, this is a good night to do it. You'll see some live 4th of July fireworks. But anyway, thanks for checking us out. Go down there in the description and follow us on all of those links. Check out Spider-Man Far From Home. You will not be disappointed. It was really fun. And if you do not follow me on Instagram, you did not see it. When you go see Spider-Man, go see it at AMC, because some AMCs, for a limited time, have Spider-Man popcorn. It's this blue and red vanilla flavored goodness, and oh man, it's like my new favorite snack in the theater, and I'm terrified because it's probably going to go away after Spider-Man leaves the theaters. But it's amazing. Check it out. Grab it. Go see this movie in the theater. See it as big as possible because it's worth that. It was so much fun to see this, and I cannot wait to see more. I will see y'all sometime next week, and y'all know what time it is, so obviously I think y'all already know what I'm going to sign off with. But for those that don't know, with great power comes great responsibility.